A Christiane Amanpour investigation, the journalist's revelation. I've been covering the Middle East for over 3 decades. From the Iran-Iraq War to the Arab Spring, from Palestinian uprisings to the Syrian civil war. I thought I understood this region's complexities, its ancient grudges, its cycle of violence. But it wasn't until my most recent trip to Tel Aviv that I realized I had been missing the most important story of all. I was interviewing a former Mossad chief in his office overlooking the Mediterranean. As sirens wailed in the distance, a routine drill, he assured me, he made an observation that stopped me cold. "Christiane," he said, "you journalists keep asking us why we're so paranoid. You're asking the wrong question. You should be asking why you're so unprepared." That comment haunted me for months, because what I discovered in my investigation is that Israel isn't paranoid at all. Israel has built something the world has never seen before, a state designed from the ground up for permanent crisis, a survival machine. And this machine, operating in ways the West fundamentally misunderstands, may be the prototype for how all modern nations will need to function in the decades ahead. This is that story. The misreading. When Western observers look at Israel, they see irrationality. They see a powerful military attacking civilians. They see settlements expanding despite international law. They see a democracy that somehow sustains an occupation. They see responses that seem disproportionate, reactions that appear driven by ancient grudges rather than contemporary calculation. This reading is not just incomplete, it is dangerously wrong, because what appears to be emotional volatility is actually systematic design. What looks like paranoid overreaction is methodical risk management. What seems like tribal revenge is state-of-the-art threat assessment. The Western mind struggles to comprehend Israel because it reads the state through the wrong framework. It sees ideology where there is engineering. It sees passion where there is programming. It sees the past where there is future. The programming. To understand how the survival machine operates, you must understand how it was programmed. The code was written not in Parliament or by generals, but in the cattle cars of Europe. It was debugged, not in think tanks, but in the gas chambers. It was tested not in simulations, but in the very real experience of systematic extermination. The Holocaust was not just a historical trauma for Israel. It was a learning experience, a catastrophic failure analysis on a civilizational scale, a data set on what happens when a people become complacent about their survival. The lesson was simple. Never again means never again. But here is what the West misses. Israel did not learn to hate from the Holocaust. Israel learned to calculate. It learned that survival requires systems. It learned that good intentions without defensive capabilities equal extinction. It learned that the world's promises of protection are worthless when your neighbors want you dead. This was not emotional education. This was operational education. Consider the difference in how Americans and Israelis think about security. Americans think about security as a response to threats. You build defenses after you identify enemies. Israelis think about security as a precondition for existence. You design survival into the system before you even know what the threats will be. This is why every Israeli child learns to run to bomb shelters, not because Israel is preparing for the last war, but because it is preparing for wars that haven't been invented yet. This is why Iron Dome intercepts rockets that cost with missiles that cost $50,000. Not because it is cost-effective, but because the cost of not intercepting them is infinite. This is systematic thinking. This is machine logic, the architecture. The survival machine operates on multiple levels simultaneously. Most visible is the military layer, the Iron Dome, the nuclear program, the intelligence services that reach into every enemy capital. But this is just the hardware. The real genius is in the software, the social programming, the way Israeli society has organized itself to maximize survival probability across generations. Take the reserve system. In most countries, military reserves are weekend warriors, civilians who play soldier once a month. In Israel, reserves are the core combat force, bank executives who become tank commanders, tech entrepreneurs who become fighter pilots, university professors who become intelligence analysts. This is not militarization of society. This is societal redundancy. If you eliminate the professional military, you still face an entire population trained in warfare. If you decapitate the leadership, middle management can take over. If you destroy the economy, the underground economy activates.